Okay, welcome everyone to this Micrographics webinar, Cloud Connected Workflow for Inventor. My name is Aldred Boyd. I'll be presenting today. I'm an application engineer for Micrographics. And just below there, you'll see is my email address, so that if you do want to have any questions or anything like that about the webinar afterwards, please feel free to contact me. Okay, so just a little bit about me. I am a industry specialist for the Autodesk manufacturing products. Okay, so that includes things like Inventor, which is my forte, as well as AutoCAD. I've worked with that for quite a long time now as well. AutoCAD Mechanical, AutoCAD Plant, AutoCAD P&ID, AutoCAD Electrical. I've also I dabble in the data management side of things. So with that. I've got sort of Vault experience, the Vault Pro, Vault or Vault Professional, Vault Workgroup, and then I've also taken a look at some of the other software like Navisworks, a collaboration tool, as well as 3ds Max, which is a visualization tool. So those are all things that you'll find in the product design and manufacturing collection, which Autodesk has packaged for us. I've got just under 20 years of experience. I've been in the game for quite a while, and hopefully I can impart some knowledge on you guys and be able to help you with your daily workflow issues. I'm both AutoCAD and Inventor certified. I have had to, sort of write exams for this. So there's not just one exam. If you do want to become an AutoCAD or Inventor certified professional, you have to write exams once every couple of years. I think it's got a 3-year life expectancy. And if you do want to take those exams, Micrographics does offer it as well. We have got branches in Durban, Joburg, Cape Town, and Port Elizabeth. I'm also an Autodesk certified instructor. So all of our application engineers are Autodesk certified instructors. So if you do come to any training courses with us or do any online training courses with us, you'll find that you have got an instructor who is well versed in Autodesk software. I've also been a presenter at the Autodesk University extensions at both Johannesburg and in Cape Town, mainly looking at sort of Inventor topics. I've looked at iLogic quite extensively. So if you ever want to take a look at that or have any questions on that, I will be able to help you on that. Okay, so the agenda, Inventor and the cloud. Okay, so we're just going to take a look at how this works, and then also Fusion 360 and AnyCAD. Okay, so just the AnyCAD technology that Autodesk has introduced into both Fusion 360 and Inventor, and then just taking a look at connecting Inventor to the cloud, shared views, connecting Vault to the cloud, and Vault Inventor Fusion lifecycle. Okay, so the objectives: understand how Inventor can be connected to utilize cloud technologies, gain a broader knowledge of how Fusion 360, AnyCAD can be used, and also just take a look at some user-defined cases on how to utilize that Autodesk cloud technology. Okay, so let's take a look at Inventor and the cloud. Okay, so basically from around about Inventor 2018.2, sort of Autodesk started introducing the workflows that you get to be able to work from your desktop and be able to utilize cloud technology when saving and distributing information that you are creating. The nice thing about the cloud is that wherever you are, as long as you're connected, as long as you've got that internet connection, you can work in the cloud. Some of the technology you can cache offline as well. So if you have got sort of some software or some data models in the cloud, even if you don't have a connection or that you're not going to have an internet connection, you can cache that model, still work on it. And as soon as you connect back to that cloud connection, then you'll be able to start updating the cloud object as well. Using things like drag and drop, save, or pack and go. Pack and go is an invented term to get all the your models together. In your Windows Explorer, you're able to then go and share that information. So this kind of works like your Dropbox or your OneDrive. So what happens is, once you install, see if your OneDrive, you'll have like a little virtual drive, and by pushing things into that virtual drive, it then syncs up to the cloud. So that's kind of how the Autodesk philosophy works. Okay, so what technology is required for this? So first of all, Inventor, okay, and that is found in your product design and manufacturing collection subscription, or just in your Inventor subscription. Then you need an Autodesk desktop connector. This is available for download from your Autodesk account. And then either Fusion Team or Autodesk Drive. And these are both available with your product design and manufacturing collections. So all four of these different technologies from Autodesk help to drive that connectivity between Inventor and the cloud. Okay, so Autodesk Drive. What is Autodesk Drive? Okay, so Autodesk Drive is sort of like a little cloud storage unit, which is CAD aware. And when I say CAD aware, what I mean is that in Inventor, what happens is you've got sort of child and parent relationships. So, for instance, if you've got your Inventor assembly, that would be the parent, and then the children would be other sub-assemblies sitting inside that Inventor assembly, or the parts that you've put in there connected together to create that assembly. And an assembly could be a child of a drawing file. So a 2D drawing file where you get your front view, your side view, your isometrics, any detailing you've got over there. So the drawing file would be your parent, and then the assembly would be your child. Now, why I say CAD aware as well is because these are different files sitting in different locations. It has to be aware that there is a connection between them. So that if you do open up the assembly or open up the drawing file, it knows that in this parent, the child is the assembly, and then from the assembly, the children in that would be all the parts. It needs to go find those parts and put it up. Because if you had to maybe move that part to another, sort of folder on your hard drive without telling Inventor where that part is, it's going to lose that connection. So, and then you would open it, and those parts wouldn't be available to you. The Autodesk Drive has got a 25 gig cloud storage space. Okay, so for individuals, so that's what you kind of use it over there. You also get your Autodesk Drive in your subscriptions for Inventor, Vault Workgroup, and Vault Pro. It also supports a lot of different files, over 60 types of both Autodesk and third-party files. So it also is able to support, sort of PDFs, Word documents, as well as other CAD files as well. And the nice thing about this, because it's in the cloud, you can view and organize those files, and it's just from your internet browser as well. Okay, Autodesk Desktop Connector. Okay, so it works like Dropbox or OneDrive. So it creates these virtual drives, and just in that picture at the bottom over there, you'll see, what looks familiar at the top there, your desktop folder, your documents, downloads, music, pictures, and your videos. And at the bottom there, you can see I've actually added a BIM 360T, which is more on the architectural side over there. Then I've got my Autodesk Drive and my Fusion 360 drive as well as my local disk. So it's all there. If I had to double click on the A drive, the Autodesk Drive, it'll open up a folder which is sitting on my local drive, but is also synced to my Autodesk Drive up in the cloud. Okay, how do we set up this desktop connector? It's actually very simple. First thing you need to do is you need to be assigned it by your contract manager. So whenever you buy any Autodesk software, a contract manager is assigned that software, and then you will then assign a right to the different users in your team. Go to that web address over there, and then you sign in with your Autodesk ID, which you've been assigned by the contract manager. And then just install the desktop connector by clicking on your profile picture, which is sitting in the top right-hand corner over there. And then it'll ask you to sign in with your Autodesk ID. So you're going to have to sign in twice. One is to the website, and then one is to the desktop connector. And then, yeah, you've synced your desktop to your cloud profile. Okay, so there we go. Quick and easy, and that's how simple it is just to get up and running. Okay, so just a quick little video on how to, on how this works over here. So on the right-hand side, I am logging into my Autodesk Drive. And on the left-hand side over there, you can see the different folder structure that I've got on my local drive. Okay, the top left-hand side, you'll see I've got a project which is saved in another location. And I'm now going to take the project at the top over there, that assembly, and link it to my drive. So what it does is it uses the existing Autodesk technology like your Inventor project, and it goes and finds all your parts and assemblies. And after a while, once it's synced, you can see there on the right-hand side, you've got the same folder structure as you did on your local drive. Now, the nice thing about the Autodesk driver, you can see that it actually makes a representation, which is a DWFX, and you can see all the different components. So you can take a look at it, spin it around, and do, you'll be doing a section view as well. Okay. So this is all available to you right out the box. I mean, there's no special, I've got to go and configure this or anything like that. Now, what we're doing is we're just saying, right, edit it on the desktop. So it opens it back up into Inventor on your local desktop. And you'll see there's a little cloud on the left-hand side next to all those parts in your assembly, which tells me that it is now connected to the cloud. Just making some adjustments over here, saving it, and then what it does, it then goes and pushes it back up into the cloud again. So there's this continuous linking or syncing of this. Once that's done, if you need to go and save this or share this with someone else, it's just a little link that you create. Send that link via email or WhatsApp, whatever it is, and then they'll be able to open it up, in the internet browser on your iPad, Android device, or on your computer. Okay. So just reiterating over here, connecting that desktop connector and editing on the desktop as well. Okay, so yes. Okay, so I spoke about Autodesk Drive and I spoke about Fusion Team. So now, what's the difference between the two? Why would I take the one over the other? Okay, so they've got specific sort of roles. Autodesk Drive, I would say that an individual or very, very, very small team should use. Like in a very small team, it would be sort of 2 or 3 people. Whereas in Fusion Team, this is sort of for a bigger team. Okay. Lots of people, 10, 25, 50 people. And you've got to actually sort of kind of give rights to those people as well. As you can see, Autodesk Drive has only got 25 gigs of storage, but Fusion Team has got 500 gigs of storage per subscription user. Okay, so every single user is going to get 500 gigs of storage, whereas Autodesk Drive, you only get 25 gigs of storage. Okay, very simple solution, low barrier to entry in your Autodesk Drive. Whereas in Fusion Team, you've got an administrator, you've got a user who has to administer stuff, and you've got project permissions as well. Who can see what project? Not everyone can see project A. Maybe I can see project B and C, and then you can see project D and E. And then when sharing in Autodesk Drive, it's just basically share the file. You don't have much functionality in that. Whereas Fusion Team, you can do versions, you can do markups, comments, you can do live reviews, and sort of it enables both Fusion 360 and Inventor AnyCAD. So what I mean by that is I have got a link, which I'll talk about a little bit later, between Fusion 360 and Inventor AnyCAD, but it works with Fusion Team. Okay. So those are just some of the things to take into consideration when looking at this. Do you need Autodesk Drive or do you need Fusion Team? And how much functionality do you want with this cloud technology that you've got? Okay, so Fusion 360 and AnyCAD. Okay, so if you guys don't know about Fusion 360, it's a little bit like Inventor, but it uses a lot of cloud technology and a lot of processing on the cloud as well. So we'll talk about that just as well. Okay, so who has access to this Fusion 360 AnyCAD? Okay, so product design and manufacturing collection subscribers, Fusion 360 subscribers, and anyone with Fusion Team access. Okay, and who does not have access? If you just buy Inventor Professional, you do not have access to this because you do not get Fusion 360, and customers not on maintenance and non-subscribers. So this is going to become sort of null and void as we nearly fully transition to a subscription basis for Autodesk products. So if you do find yourself that on a maintenance product, you unfortunately will not be able to use any of this cloud technology. Okay, so Inventor Fusion 360 AnyCAD. So what can I AnyCAD into Inventor or Fusion 360? You can do AutoCAD, Inventor, CATIA, SolidWorks, Alias, Pro Engineer, PTC Creo, Solid Edge, NX Step, and Fusion 360. Okay, so when I say AnyCAD, let me just explain that to you. AnyCAD is kind of like if you've worked on AutoCAD, it's like your XREFs. So if I create a model and I send it to you, and then you've got Inventor, and you want to AnyCAD my file, any of those files that are currently sitting on the screen at the moment, into my Inventor model, it makes it like a reference. So it doesn't import the model. It just makes like a kind of ghost image, but it also brings in a lot of properties as well. So like your description and your part number. So if you're going to do bill of materials, that kind of functionality is available for you as well. Now, the brilliant thing about AnyCAD is that if you go and change the model in any of those programs over there, so for instance, I've got an AutoCAD model, a 2D AutoCAD model, and I now start making change the AutoCAD model, then what it will do is it will change the AnyCAD model that I brought into Inventor. So to change in my Inventor session, it'll say like, right, there's a change. Would you like to see the change? Yes. And it'll go and update that model for you. So any changes that the other designer is making, I will be able to see then as well through this AnyCAD technology. Okay. Now, there's also been the big discussion. Fusion 360 is taking over Inventor. Everyone's been talking about it. It has not. Okay, there's a good video from Autodesk by Stephen Hooper, and I can't remember the other guy's name, but they did have a quite a long discussion about this. It was the product manager of Inventor and the product manager of Fusion 360, where they discussed what the benefits of Fusion 360 and Inventor are, and they actually implicitly answered the question, is Fusion 360 taking over Inventor? And the answer is no, it is not. They've got two very different functions and functionality. And Autodesk is working to bring those functionalities together, because obviously Inventor has got some advantage over Fusion 360, and Fusion 360 has some advantages over Inventor. Now, if I just had to take a look very quickly at what Fusion 360 can do: conceptual design, mesh and reverse engineering, cloud compute solutions, ECAD with Fusion 360 and Eagle, push button manufacturing, and generative design. Okay, so those is kind of stuff that, yes, Inventor can do it, but for instance, ECAD with Fusion 360 and Eagle, Inventor does not do. Okay, so generative design, Inventor does not do. Okay, the rest, Inventor can kind of, cloud compute simulation, Inventor does not do. So, Inventor does other stuff, kind of like sort of, but not to the extent that Fusion 360 can do. So if you need to create something which uses any of those functionality on the left, but it still needs to use in the Inventor side of it, create it in Fusion 360 and then, maybe stick it over Inventor. Now, if you take a look at Inventor over here, large assembly design, mechanical design, frame, piping, and harnesses, those modules that you get in Inventor Professional, bill of material management, BIM content creation, design automation, factory layout. Okay, those are things that Inventor is great at, and Fusion 360 is not so great at. For instance, your factory layout, works with AutoCAD. AutoCAD factory utilities plus your Navisworks factory utilities plus your Inventor factory utilities. Fusion 360 doesn't have that. So I just say, why limit yourself? Subscribe to Product Design and Manufacturing Collection, and you'll get the best of both worlds. I was just talking a little bit about the workflow of it. So now if I'm working in Inventor and I've got, my factory layouts, and then I get to like sort of a part that needs some generative design in it. Or it needs to, I need to take a look at generative design because I want to maybe drop the mass of it by doing cloud computing. I don't want to think about this. Let AI do it. AI is coming into our lives a lot. A lot of things have got, AI in it, artificial intelligence, and then what we will do is take some of the suggestions that AI does it, has given us, and then go and create create some parts from it, or reverse engineer that to a manufacturing process that we already have in place. Okay, so you can see there how we can work together with those two software packages. Okay, just once again, what Autodesk technology is required: Fusion 360, Inventor, Autodesk Desktop Connector, and Fusion Team. So you can see over here now, we don't have your Autodesk Drive anymore. So it doesn't work with Autodesk Drive. Okay, Fusion Team says the Fusion 360 entitlement. So you get it with Fusion 360, but you also do get it with your Product Design and Manufacturing Collection as well. Okay, the workflow that I've been speaking about is, I create something in Fusion 360, bring it into Inventor. I can create something in Inventor, bring it into Fusion 360. And I just want to say what it is and what it isn't. Okay. So like I said, you can take something from a design from Fusion into Inventor and from Inventor into Fusion. Okay. And that consumption, or that the link that it's got, is via the AnyCAD technology that Autodesk created. Okay. But now please remember, it has the ability for data to flow one of two ways. As I said, Inventor to Fusion or Fusion to Inventor. You can take Inventor assemblies as well into Fusion 360. Okay. And once it loses that link, it's quite nice. So you don't have to worry about, folder hierarchy or, whether your project is actually pointing to. But please note this. You cannot do round tripping. Okay. So you can't do Fusion, Inventor, Fusion or Inventor, Fusion, Inventor. Okay. It kind of cuts that link, by doing the round trip. And there's no native editing in Inventor and Fusion. I do know that this will get better. I mean, Autodesk always wants to create great workflows. I mean, you've seen it in the whole, currently, I think in 2021, you've got the Revit or in the Inventor to Revit or Revit to Inventor workflow, where you can bring in a Revit file into Inventor, create whatever you're going to manufacture or create or design and manufacture in Inventor. If your Revit file changes or Revit model changes, we'll update the model and anything that you've made associative in Inventor as well. So you see how they're kind of getting that workflow going between Revit and Inventor. They're going to do the same thing for Fusion Inventor as well. So just watch this space. Okay, so just once again, reiterating, you can reference .fusion design files via the desktop connector. Okay, so I think it's, you've got F3D and the Fusion design files. Okay, so the file's not cached on the local drive. It's still sitting up in the cloud there. Okay, so just please take a note of that. Okay, and then also the AnyCAD reference from your Fusion 360 file is embedded into the assembly or the IPT, and then just a token is created for the Fusion 360 reference. Okay, and as once the token is created, then it just knows that there's that link and associativity, but for that model in the two packages. Okay, so just current supported file types for Fusion 360 for the AnyCAD technology: Inventor, SolidWorks, PTC Creo, and Solid Edge. I think with PTC Creo, I don't know if they've got it yet, but I don't think there's any assembly connectivity for that. There is, though, parts. You can just bring parts in over there. Okay, and then we're going to take a look at connecting Inventor to the cloud and your shared view. So one of the problems, or one of the I wouldn't say problems, but sort of workflows that you have got is when sharing parts or models with someone. It's either a 3D PDF or it's a an email, that you put the parts on. Maybe you create a SAT or a step file, and then you send it to them. They get the file. Or they've got to come into the office because there's no way to get it very easy. And these models can get very, very big. I mean, like I remember I was sharing a file with someone, and I was in another country, and these files are sort of 20, 30, 40 megs big. And it's just not feasible. First of all, email can't do it for you, or you've got to then Dropbox it or OneDrive it. And it cuts off that link. There's no more link between your original file and the file that you're sending to them. Because now there's either duplicate of the file or it's been converted into another type of file. So Autodesk has created something called shared views. And this is a little quick review on what shared views kind of does for you. So on the left-hand side over there, you'll see there, we've got our normal Inventor. And with Inventor, we're using our Vault data management system. And that's kind of your internal process. So you're working Inventor, Vault. Now what happens is once the design is done, we need to share that design with the customers, suppliers, or the shop floor, so that they know what to do, or they can maybe review it. So what do is we can either from Inventor or from the Vault, we can create a shared view. You saw earlier on, that one part that we kind of exploded. That was a shared view that's sitting on the internet. And once here again, from Vault or Inventor, we've created the shared view over here, which you can very easily share with your customers, suppliers, or the shop floor via use of an internet address, a URL. Okay, so one thing that's nice over here is that you don't need a physical viewer that you have to download and install. Okay, so you go to the Autodesk Viewer website, and you open up that URL. This URL has got a 30-day expiration. So there has been some talks. They do want to extend it because sometimes you you want it to be there for longer than 30 days. But you can go and renew those 30 days. So once it gets down to 10, 5 days, you can go there and say renew it, and it'll jump back to 30 days. So you can just must remember to keep on updating that over there. Okay, there's an activity feed within the application panel. So this is quite nice if you're looking at just documenting and just seeing who said what, when, and why. So, there's like a comments panel. And in that comments panel over there, you'll see there, okay, great. I can tell someone, I need this to be stainless steel and not aluminum. Or please do a CFD study on this because I need it to, we just need to check this. And then you will email that off to someone. They'll get that email. They'll be able to click on the URL, which will be embedded in that email. And then they'll say, okay, great. They'll do the work. And then they can go back to that URL. And on your shared view, you'll say then, great, it's done. It'll work. And then you can actually take all of that shared view information, stick it back into your vault. And there you go. You've got like a nice little track record of exactly what's happened over the last couple of days and why it happened. So if anything does go wrong with the product, you can go back and say, okay, right, we actually did do testing. What happened from here? Okay, this is also controlled by an administrator. So once again, we're working with Fusion Teams, and in the Fusion Teams, you've got that ability to control what gets seen, what doesn't get seen, who has access to what. So once again, it's just not open to everyone. You do have control so that people can't see your IP or anything like that. And this experience is actually the same across all products. So there was a different, I think there's a different kind of a viewer like this, but then each Autodesk product had different ones. And then they just decided, okay, right, we're going to standardize across the board, and we're going to have something called shared views, and that's it. And shared views can be either 2D or 3D views. And the products that you can create a shared view out of, natively is Inventor, Vault, AutoCAD, Alias, 3ds Max, Civil 3D, FeatureCam, PowerMold, PowerShape, MoldFlow, and InfraWorks. Okay. So this is just a quick video on how to create a shared view. So you can see there right from within Inventor, I'm creating my shared view. From that, it creates your URL. And there you can see there I'm creating comments. So here we go. Let's go create a section view. This is quite a big assembly as well. And you can see how it actually is performing. Very, very quick and easy to explode something. Zoom to what you want and create a markup. So there I've got some markups, typing out something. Okay. That then gets added to that model sitting over there. And I'm going to share it. And there you send it to someone. They're opening it now on an iPad, okay, or a Android device. So like I said, as long as you've got that internet connection, you are able to go and sort of collaborate with your peers. And on the right-hand side of there, you can see all the different comments that have been made as this design has gone through. Okay, just access for shared views. Once again, like I just want to reiterate, because it's Fusion Teams, the contract manager must allow you to have your shared views or access to those shared views. Okay, if you don't have access, you're going to get an error message. You're not assigned access to shared views. Please ask your administrator for access. So that will just work straight out of Inventor. If you were using the Vault as well, there's an additional checkbox that you need to put in. So if you go to your Vault settings, go to the Collaborate tab, there you'll see they just tick on Enable Shared Views. So that also only works within Vault Workgroup and Vault Professional as well. So just please note that it does not work in your Vault Basic. Okay, connecting Inventor to the cloud with the Vault. Okay, so there's a couple of different ways that you can connect Inventor to the Vault. Okay, so the first one is, you're working in Inventor, and you can just push it straight out to the Autodesk viewer through your shared views, and collaborate. People can see exactly what's going on. So that's the design share option one. Okay. Then the second one is maybe you need to, give someone files. So in the first option there, someone can just view it on the cloud. They can't download anything. So the second one is using your Autodesk Drive. Okay, so there's an extra step in there where you can share it to Autodesk Drive. People can look at it from the Autodesk Drive, but they can also download the files as well. So if guys do need to download files and use it for maybe their manufacturing processes, the second option would be the way that you would go. Okay, then the third option is a little bit more complex. Okay, so this option, first of all, while you're working inside your environment, you're working with your CAD, Autodesk, Inventor, your AutoCAD, your Vault, and that's sort of environment you're working on there behind your own firewall. Then what happens is then you can sync your Vault with your Fusion team. So there's a way to set up that you sync certain folders or maybe your whole Vault with folders in a specific hub or project in your Fusion teams on the cloud. So there's going to be two volumes of data. There's the one in your Vault and the one in the cloud. These are synced, so it's very much like Dropbox. These are synced so that it's not like you can have copies of it so that if one changes, the other one doesn't. The one changes, then it will sync with the other one as well. And what happens is then you will give them permission for your suppliers and any contractors or outside manufacturers to be able to link to that Fusion team. They will have to have licenses of Fusion team as well, and they'll be able to go in there and be able to access that information. Okay, so this is just a quick little demonstration of how that works. So I'm in the Vault at the moment, and this is my Autodesk view over here. So you can see there that I've just dragged and dropped it into Autodesk viewer, and I'm able to see stuff over here. I've got my some markups over there as well. Okay. So now in my Vault, I'm just going to go look for a part over here. And this is the part that I want to share with some outside stakeholders. And very quick and easy, just right click and upload to the cloud. There you'll see the files that I've got or the folder that I've got in the cloud. And here's my Fusion teams over here. Okay. So there we go. It's been synced. Anything that happens in the Vault, on my side, if I change anything, it will then update in my Fusion teams over here. So, emailing that message to them, they will get then an email where this part is, and they'll be able to go to your Fusion teams and be able to then go and open it and check it out and give feedback on that. Okay, so in summary, we've just taken a look at very quickly how Inventor can be connected to utilize the cloud technologies, and seen how Fusion 360 can actually be an added bonus for us when working in the Autodesk manufacturing environment. And then just taking a look at some of the use cases, so Inventor straight through to your shared views on the internet, Inventor going to Autodesk, your Autodesk teams, Fusion teams, as well as your Autodesk Drive as well. So either using Vault or not using Vault over there. And great, and that is all we have for today. Any questions? Okay, so since we don't have any questions over there, thank you very, very much for watching. And I hope that you guys have a fantastic day going forward. Cheers.